We've all heard about weight loss surgery. Chances are you might even know someone who's done it. Does it really work, or is it just a quick fix? Stay with us to find out. I'm Mike Tucker, and we're here to help you create your best life possible.
This is Lifestyle Magazine with your hosts, Dr. Charmaine Long, OBDK, Lionel LaMountain, and Mike and Gayle Tucker.
Gastric bypass and laparoscopic surgeries are becoming more common to help people lose large amounts of weight. Many of you have questions, and bariatric surgeon Dr. Joshua Long is here to take the mystery out of these procedures. Welcome, Joshua. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, our viewers and everyone else needs to know that you have a relationship to someone on the crew here, and that is the young lady sitting to your left. How do you know her?
Somebody gave me a good bit of advice one time, always marry up.
Yeah.
And I followed that advice.
So you did, all right.
I did.
So we got two doctors in the family, which
That's
means
right.
that your children were born with their bachelor's degree, no doubt. We're glad to have you here, Joshua.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Now you're going to talk to us about surgeries that can help with weight loss. And tell us what some of those are. We've heard of bariatric surgery. Explain some of those for us.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, a common misconception is that we do all of these in a very invasive fashion by making an incision down the middle of the abdomen. In the current era, bariatric surgery is accomplished through 4 or 5 tiny little incisions in the abdominal wall.
Is that
And
right?
sometimes we're able to accomplish it through just one tiny port in a single port surgery.
Really? Oh,
That's incredible. So it's
amazing.
far less invasive than what I thought it might be.
Much less invasive.
What are the types of surgery that you can perform to do this?
The first one that most people are familiar with is the gastric bypass. The sleeve gastrectomy. It's a new operation that's very much in vogue now.
Oh.
The gastric band is one that historically has been done. And then now there's an emergence of a new single anastomosis duodenal switch, otherwise known as the loop duodenal switch.
Would you say that again?
Yeah, say that slowly.
The loop duodenal switch.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
What is the minimum qualification, body type and BMI-wise, to be eligible for that type of surgery?
For most patients, they will qualify at a body mass index, or a BMI, as you put it, of greater than 40.
Okay.
However, patients with severe metabolic burden, such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension or high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diseases related to their obesity will qualify at a body mass index of 35 or greater.
So you can actually, when an individual, let's just say maybe they're not severe, have you actually ever told someone, look, you're not eligible, you're just, you know what I mean, you're not in that excessive BMI level-wise?
It's an interesting quandary. This is one of the controversial areas in the field at this point in time. The National Institute of Health actually recommends going down to the lowest level of obesity with a body mass index of 30 or above, as long as there is metabolic disease. However, most commercial payers will not agree to provide benefits for those patients. And so by insurance criteria, I do have to tell patients at times that their insurance will not cover the procedure. However, we strive to provide something for every patient population, and every patient is important to us.
Sure.
And so we have various non-surgical techniques that we also employ for those patients so that we can offer something to everyone.
What are some of those? What's a non-surgical technique? Is it just diet? I mean, what do you?
Yes, so in the clinic, as part of the pathway to surgery, we actually do have a registered dietitian, a psychosocial counselor, and we also utilize a consulting service with an exercise physiologist to help build all of these tools. However, when you take these tools independently, they can also be very useful for patients in terms of losing some weight without surgery as well.
You said something very interesting. You talked about a psychosocial counselor.
Yes.
Now, I'm curious how much work that counselor gets, because you kind of described the ideal candidate for this procedure, but I'm wondering if you see many people coming to your office who might want to boost their self-esteem, who might have some challenges in the self-image area. I mean, how much of it is for that? How much of it is truly for the health reasons they want to go through this process?
We don't do the operation just for self-esteem. We do it only for health reasons. However, I would say almost every patient has some struggle with their self-esteem. And I wonder if a better word for it isn't society-imposed esteem. In our society, patients, and there are multiple studies that actually describe the bias against patients who struggle with their weight.
Oh, yes. They receive
in
less
tremendous
pay.
ways.
They're not accepted as well.
Absolutely. More sick days. They, not only do they struggle with their health, but they also struggle to great degrees with the way that society sees them. And so, yes, every day I'll have a patient sit in my office and sob,
Wow.
hoping to have their life transformed and changed.
So what about the person who is extremely obese and they have one of these surgeries? What are the medical benefits? I mean, what does it help them? How does it help them health-wise?
Well, in addition to a wonderful amount of weight loss, somewhere between 65 and 80% in just the first year, patients will commonly experience complete resolution of their type 2 diabetes,
Wow.
high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obstructive sleep apnea. The list goes on and on.
So it really has actual benefits that they see in their health day to day.
Absolutely.
Besides the weight loss.
And I would say that our average patient probably comes in on 8 to 10 medications. And a year later, most of those patients come back to see us in clinic and are not taking any medications.
Whoa.
Do you help educate them after the surgery is over? Do you help educate them as far as diet, nutrition, training to be able to maintain that weight after the surgery is done?
We follow our patients for a minimum of 5 years after surgery. And during that time period, we have frequent follow-up checks to check vitamin levels, to check how they're responding to various other tools that they also need to utilize as well, and to really help to support them through that process so that they can maintain that result long term.
I know that you're really passionate about what you do. What is it that makes you so passionate about bariatric surgery?
I think every one of us feels that we're an underdog in some way. And I think every one of us has had to struggle at something in life. And every one of us has felt that we have on some level been biased against. And I think that the best thing about what I do, the reason that I'm so passionate about what I do, is because I feel that I can personally identify with my patients' struggles. And I feel that there's nothing I'd rather be doing.
Awesome.
You see these patients a year later, and these are people, and these people have transformed lives. They have
right.
transformed health, and it is incredible.
We're going to take a break. A little later in the show, we're going to hear from a patient who's gone through the surgery. But when we return, is there a danger? We'll be right back.
The truth is in here. DiscoverOnline.org.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool. Really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
The secret's out.
Get the keys to longevity and a better quality of life from your friends at the Seventh-day Adventist Church by visiting www.healthylifeinfo.com.
We're talking about losing weight through surgery with bariatric surgeon Dr. Joshua Long. Now, Joshua, are there complications that arise from the surgery?
There certainly can be, Mike, and this is very important for patients to understand because this is an elective operation.
Okay.
It can transform a person's life, but it is a choice. It's not an emergent operation. And so standard risks that apply to any abdominal operation certainly can apply to this operation as well, or these sets of operations. They may include things like infection at the incision sites, pain, bleeding, blood clots forming in the legs, and pneumonia. Then there are a certain set of risks and complications that would be specific to bariatric surgery. Those would include things like a leak at one of the staple lines, which could be very severe and require more surgery.
Yeah.
Other operative risks that have also been described in the literature would be things like vitamin or protein malnutrition if people do not comply with their supplementation regimen.
Okay.
And then other possibilities that would be specific to bariatric surgery would be things like gastric ulcers, strictures forming from scar tissue that could make it hard to eat. There is even a possibility of excess skin. After a person goes through the transformation, the weight goes away, but the skin doesn't always. And finally, if patients don't end up complying and doing their part to use all of the other tools that can make this successful over the rest of their life, some patients will experience weight regain.
Oh, okay.
So how is it that you regain the weight? I mean, people think, okay, they're gonna make my stomach so small that I couldn't gain weight if I wanted to, but people trick it, don't they?
Absolutely, and Gayle, this is very important. Many people will come with the expectation that this surgery is a completely curative operation.
Yeah.
When in fact it is an extremely powerful tool that can completely level the playing field so that anybody can lose weight. However, it is just one tool in a set of tools that we really counsel patients to use. And we actually spend about 6 months with patients before surgery, just giving them the education and the other tools that they'll need to use afterwards.
So when you say level the playing field, are you saying that these people then are at the point where they have to do the same thing that anyone else has to do to maintain their weight?
Yes, things like diet, things like exercise, things like understanding their relationship with food on a very deep level, and making modifications.
So it's not just an automatic thing.
It's not an automatic thing.
Shoot.
How challenging is that? Because you said food, emotional issues. We all know people use food. We all use food to change our biochemistry, our moods. How do people deal with that if they go through this surgery? Because that doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
So what support do they need? Does your office give? I mean, how do they
The support starts, that's an excellent question, Lionel, and the support starts, as I mentioned, about 6 months before surgery. And a lot of intensive therapy for some patients is needed. If you think about it, we're all stress eaters, right? Many of us are emotional eaters.
Absolutely.
Many Americans are actually binge eaters as well. And if these foundational issues are not addressed early on before surgery, they can lead patients down a path that could be very destructive in terms of maintaining that weight loss after surgery. And so one of the things that we actually work with patients on is trying to help to level that disparity between stress, because we're taking away a coping mechanism for stress at the time of surgery,
yes.
and yet we're introducing some stress with the actual surgical procedure. And for some patients, if not appropriately triaged beforehand, can end up experiencing worsened depression during that time period following surgery. And so that's got to be dealt with in a way that the patient reaches a stable state before surgery happens.
Can they harm themselves afterwards? Can they physically put their lives in jeopardy by returning to old habits if they don't deal with that?
Absolutely, and that's part of the reason that we put so much emphasis into the educational process preoperatively. Patients who will end up struggling with protein deficiency, vitamin deficiencies, or even other dangerous complications afterwards, oftentimes are patients who do not end up following the pathways, the tools, and really complying with all of the educational process before surgery.
What are the body types that are eligible for this type of surgery? Can someone come off the street and say, hey, I want to have this surgery, period, and maybe they're not eligible? Obviously, I'm assuming there's got to be a minimal medical requirement, like, okay, this person's eligible.
That's a good question, because back during his heyday as Mr. Universe, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I believe, actually fit into obese category by BMI.
Oh, really?
But he was solid muscle.
Right.
And so any bodybuilder that walks in with a body mass index of 40 or above
Sure.
absolutely does not qualify
Right.
for surgery.
Right. Right.
So body composition analysis also is part of our pathway with every patient.
Yeah,
I'm honestly considered overweight by the BMI index.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that? Oh,
Yeah, because
that's just
when
ridiculous.
it doesn't take into fact well-conditioned athletes if you have a lot of lean muscles. So
Yeah.
you're right.
Great question.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a patient that you had and how it changed their lives?
It's hard to pick just one. We've had so many patients that have shared their stories with us by coming to work with us. And we've had patients that their story has included running a marathon following surgery, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. But what I really get excited about is patients that come and tell me, Dr. Long, my life is completely transformed and completely different. I can play with my kids or my grandkids.
There you go.
I can sit in an airplane seat and not feel embarrassed anymore.
Oh, that's
I feel
awesome.
like I've gotten my life back.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're going to take a break, and our next guest has been through bariatric surgery. We'll find out how it worked out for her when we come back.
Welcome home, man.
The secret's out.
Get the keys to longevity and a better quality of life from your friends at the Seventh-day Adventist Church by visiting www.healthylifeinfo.com.
Veronica Phillips needed to lose over 100 pounds for her health. She turned to bariatric surgery to do it. Now, what was it like for you before the surgery?
No activity, not participating in sports and fun things with 2 young children, staying home all the time, passing up on opportunities to go out with the family.
Wow.
Just because I was uncomfortable, obviously in my own skin, but I had those limitations carrying that weight around. Who's going to run around the playground with kids?
You can't play with your kids, can you?
When you weigh
How did that
295
make you
pounds.
feel, being unable to really take part in those activities?
Inadequate, lousy mom. They
Wow.
deserved better. You know, I wasn't there for them the way they needed to. They were they were picking up my bad habits too. So it's like all that's playing
really?
into it, where it's like, mom's not active. They want to be, but it's like, well, if mom's just going to kick back and watch TV and not do anything, so can we.
So can we.
So it's, I mean, it's a snowball effect.
You were married
Yes, I'm married.
and still married?
Yes.
How did that affect your marriage?
Luckily for me, my husband's always said thick or thin, didn't matter.
Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
You are a fortunate lady.
Yes, I am. Very fortunate, yes. It didn't matter to him either way, but at the end of the day, he knew whatever had to make me happy and healthy, obviously, was the most important, but he didn't care.
Because he loved you, he probably
Yes.
worried about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Energy levels and were gone. How about just, I mean, how you felt overall, generally, your health?
It was a daily struggle. Every morning, having to get ready for work 5 days a week. Come the weekend, I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything because I worked so hard. My mantra was, get up, make your hair and makeup look perfect so nobody looks above or below your neck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my mentality every day for as long as I can remember.
Ah.
Really?
Yeah.
What brought you to a point where you said, I got to change this?
I didn't want to wake up at 45 and wished I had done something at 35.
Really?
And I met some people at work that were in a support group that had gone the route of bariatric surgery, and befriended a gal that became my trailblazer and took me down the path, got me to the doctors that I went and interviewed with, and finally made the commitment that this is what's going to work for me.
So she kind of inspired you.
Yeah, because she had a good success story. She was just became an advocate for the process. It was nice knowing that there was a support group at my employer that I could talk to and pose all my fears, concerns, and hear the success. And it just fired me to go.
So you got motivated to do this. From that point until your surgery, how long was it?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months. Yeah, mine was pretty fast.
That's quick.
Once I make up my mind to do something, I want it to go pretty fast.
You were motivated.
I was very motivated, yes.
What was it like going through that process?
It was interesting in the sense, the psychological side of it. I wasn't expecting, I'd done my homework. I'd looked at all the different procedures available, made my decision on gastric overlap band at the time. I figured I was more comfortable with them tweaking with what I already had instead of putting something foreign in me, was kind of how I made the decision. But the psychological stuff, the mandated support group attendee, had to go to at least 2 meetings. Of course, they encouraged more, but it was just kind of understanding what my relationship with food was. Why was I obese in the first place, aside from genetics, because it is very pronounced in my family. But why was it so hard for me to lose weight? Why did I struggle so much? What did I turn to food for? Dealing with all those issues is what I had to work on.
So trying to develop a healthy relationship with food to go forward.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your story after bariatric surgery. What has your life been like?
Oh my goodness. There are no words. Honestly, it's like you're reborn. You get this whole new lease on life. Your energy level is through the roof. You're happy to go places. You never turn down an invitation to go somewhere. You're not dreading, what do I wear? It's not going to look right. And I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's the silly little vanity type things. But when you spend so much time with that struggle, I mean, overnight, you just start to feel like, I know my life's going to be better for this. My kids ultimately benefited the most because they got their mom back.
Yeah.
I didn't say, no, I don't want to go to the park. I'm dragging them out. Say, let's go. Let's go play. Let's go to the beach. Let's go here. Let's do that. So
Did you have some emotional issues after the surgery, trying to deal with all this?
Just letting go of the issues that I had as an obese woman versus a not obese woman anymore.
Okay.
That it was, my whole thing was I wanted to be comfortable in my skin. And to have that confidence, I've never doubted my abilities to do things, but when you can shed that weight and that burden all at the same time, my job performance went through the roof. I just felt comfortable talking to people at work more. The blinders come off. You're not kind of looking down at the ground. You're standing. It's just, it's incredible, the difference. And my life is 1,000% better as a result.
What does your husband say?
Through thick and thin, didn't matter. Honestly, didn't matter to him either way. He truly didn't care either way. But obviously, he's happy that I'm happy and I'm healthy. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That I took care of things before they got bad.
So you're having more of an active life. You're enjoying life and enjoying your kids.
Yes.
Having a blast.
It's a good life. It was good before, but it's great now.
Did you have any complications?
I did. It required me to spend a couple extra days in the hospital. But it wasn't expected, but it's something that you have to plan for.
Yeah.
They tell you every surgery,
Plan
right?
for it.
Yeah.
But would you do it over again?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
That's the power of a changed life.
Yeah, that is. And that's the exciting thing to hear from you. You would do this again in a heartbeat, no matter what.
Yes, I would. I got my life back, so why wouldn't I?
On that note, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with a final word from the crew.
Some secrets are meant to be kept. Some are meant to be shared. But the secrets that matter most are the secrets of the kingdom. Secrets of the Kingdom will take your children on an audio quest they will want to experience again and again. Your children will follow their guide Silversong as he takes them on a journey to a most special place called the Kingdom, to meet someone who loves them very much. This wholesome story of faith, prayer, hope, and love is dramatically created with narration, dialogue, sound effects, and songs. Secrets of the Kingdom is available on CD or cassette for $9.95 plus shipping. Just call our toll-free number, 888-940-0062. That's 888-940-0062. And ask for Secrets of the Kingdom on CD or cassette. Secrets of the Kingdom. Let the adventure begin today.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son.
God loves me so much that he sent down to earth his boy.
God loved the world so much that he gave his only Son.
His one and only Son. And this is why. So that no one needed to be destroyed.
The Heavenly Father loved the human race so very much that he gave his one and only Son.
That he gave his one and only Son.
God loves the world so much that he gave us his Son, Jesus.
That anyone who believes in him will not die.
We're not gonna die.
That whosoever believeth in him should not perish,
but have everlasting life.
Everlasting life.
Eternal life.
And anyone who believes in him will live forever.
And that's a long time.
Beautiful, no matter how you say it. For more on John 3:16 and other texts, go to myfavoritetext.com.
Welcome back. We like to take questions from our viewers, and we have one right here. We're going to address this to you, Dr. Long. And it is this. It says, I've been told that having the bariatric surgery can actually reverse my diabetes. Is this true?
So it is true, depending on the procedure. There are various success rates for the variety of procedures that are available, and it also depends somewhat on how long the patient has had diabetes. Patients that have had diabetes, type 2 diabetes for over 10 years are less likely to have a complete reversal. They'll probably diminish the amount of medications that they need. But with procedures like gastric bypass or the gastric sleeve, it really changes hormonally how the body responds to food and to carbohydrates. So when patients are still in the hospital before they've even lost weight postoperatively, we actually see a significant reduction in their requirements for insulin or oral medications.
That's almost miraculous.
Yes. Yeah. Taking someone off of insulin is like one of the most exciting things for them. It's fun to see.
The quality of life is improved and everything else. Well, at least now we know that this is a viable solution, a viable option for a lot of patients, and it's something that you need to talk to your physician about in order to know whether or not you qualify, whether this is something for you. Well, thank you to you. Thank you to our guest, Dr. Joshua Long, and also to Veronica Phillips. And thank you for being a part of this one as well. We look forward to seeing you again next time. But until then, you take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Lifestyle Magazine. We look forward to being with you again next week.